Good morning, NAHS. My name is Monica D'Antonio. I'm the Vice President of the NASD School Board of Directors. And I'm going to take a few minutes to talk about the upcoming midterm election on Tuesday, November 8th. So, what are the midterm elections? Well, many people think that elections only happen every 4 years, and they're often surprised to learn that here in Pennsylvania, we vote every year, twice a year. In Pennsylvania, we have primary elections that happen in the spring and general elections that happen in the fall. This happens every year. We vote every 6 months. This year's election is what we call the midterm election. The reason it's called midterm is because the election is happening in the middle of the current president's first 4-year term. For example, Joe Biden was elected president in 2020. His first term as president ends in 2024. So 2022 is the middle of his term. Thus, we call the 2022 election cycle the midterm elections. Midterm elections are really important because first, they determine the balance of power in the federal or national government, specifically the U.S. House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate. We use the term Congress as a catch-all for the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate. And Congress is the lawmaking body of our federal government. So voting in this election means voting for people who will create and enact laws that impact our country and our daily lives. The actions and votes taken by the U.S. Congress impact all Americans across the entire nation. The midterms are also important in state elections. Here in Pennsylvania, our midterm election includes the governor and state legislators. The Pennsylvania State Legislature and the governor are responsible for creating and enacting laws here in PA. The actions and votes taken by the state legislature and the governor impact all Pennsylvanians. So essentially, the midterm elections are all about voting for lawmakers at both the federal level and the state level. Now, why does this matter? Well, as you know, laws are how we run the United States and how we run the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And of course, some laws are better than others. So as voters, we have to decide what kind of laws we want to see in place, and then we need to vote for the people who create the laws that most align with our values. Let's look at some examples for the state and federal levels. At the state level, here in Pennsylvania, our state legislators and governor are the ones responsible for creating laws that determine how much money our Norristown Area School District public schools get each year. There are some politicians who think that public schools should be fully funded by the state, with most money going to the neediest schools. There are others who are running for office who believe that the state should not spend money on public education and instead should give money directly to families to determine where to send their children to school. If you value a strong and effective public education system, like we have here in Norristown, you might vote for the candidate who believes that the state should fund public schools. If you value a more individualized approach to education, you might support the candidate who favors funding families instead of funding schools. So voting in the midterms here in PA can determine whether our schools here in Norristown get fully funded or don't get funded at all. The midterm elections are also important at the federal or national level. For example, do you know someone who has diabetes? I do. And if you do, this election is critical. For the past few months, our U.S. Congress, and remember, Congress is the U.S. House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate, they have been debating the cost of insulin, which many of you know is a life-saving medication for people who have diabetes. There are some politicians who believe that the U.S. government should step in to lower the cost of insulin to make it more affordable and accessible for all Americans. There are other people running for office who believe that it's not the government's responsibility to regulate drug costs. If you believe that the government should play a role in determining the cost of prescription drugs, then you should vote for a candidate that shares those values. If you believe that the government should stay out of the prescription drug business, then you should vote for a candidate that reflects that point of view. As you can see, your vote in the 2022 midterm elections matters. While presidential elections every 4 years are really important, the president does not make laws. Let me say that again. The president of the United States does not make laws. That's why midterm elections are really important. The outcome of the midterms directly influences the laws that impact every aspect of our lives, from healthcare to education funding to student loan debt to public safety. Midterm elections matter. So now that you know why it's important to vote, let's talk about voting. First, in the United States, you need to be registered to vote. Any American citizen who is or will be 18 years old by the November 8th election is eligible to vote. The registration deadline for this election cycle ended on Monday, October 24th. So it's now too late to register for the upcoming election on Tuesday, November 8th. But you can start preparing for the 2023 election cycle now. Get registered and start researching what's on the ballot in 2023 because 2023 is right around the corner. Next, you need to know who's on the ballot. You can visit www.vote411.org, put in your mailing address, and the website will tell you who's running for office in your area. The website will also tell you where to vote and how to vote. Once you're registered, start researching the candidates. Typically, candidates have their own websites, and they also have a presence on all social media. Use these resources to learn about each candidate's positions on the issues that are most important to you. After your research is finished, go vote! There are many ways to vote. You can vote in person, or you can vote by mail, you can vote early, or vote on election day. There are so many options on how to vote in Pennsylvania. It's really easy. If you plan to vote by mail, you must request your mail-in ballot from Montgomery County Voter Services by November 1st. You can visit pavoterservices.pa.gov to request your mail-in or absentee ballot. Please make sure that your ballot is properly completed, dated on the inside and outside of your envelope, signed, and returned in the mail or to the county election office by 8 p.m. on Tuesday, November 8th. If you plan to vote in person, make sure you know where your polling station is. And if you're not sure, go back to that website I just told you about, vote411.org, put in your address, and you will find your polling station there. Make sure to know the times that polls open and close. In Pennsylvania, the polls are open from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. No matter who you vote for this election, just remember that your vote matters and your vote is your voice. Please make sure to vote on or before Tuesday, November 8th. Our laws and our lives depend on it. Thank you so much, Norristown High School. Have a great day.